Hello, what's up?
Good morning.
Morning. Welcome, everyone. So, today we are going to begin with one of the most important readings of your CFA curriculum, not only for level 1, but level 2 and level 3. Most of the students who have issues later on with respect to, the difficulty level of curriculum, that's perhaps because of fixed income. You'll find many of your CFA friends definitely telling you that fixed income is that perhaps that nail on your way. It's that one dangerous subject that many find it difficult, because the biggest reason that not everyone is exposed to the fixed income market. Well, we are all aware about a lot of things about equity market, but rarely we are aware about the functioning of fixed income markets, unless and until you're working in the fixed income market, or you're working in OTC trading and all, or perhaps working with the issuance of fixed income. So otherwise, this bond market is one of the most looks very easy, but it's very deep and complicated market as such. However, when we will come up to doing the curriculum year, it's going to be very interesting. It's going to challenge your basic mathematics and logic. But once we finish the fixed income, you'll realize that this is one of the most interesting subjects as well. And here, how well you have done your quants, especially with respect to time value of money, will actually come into play. So the prerequisite to this is that your time value of money should be done, or you should be aware about the time value techniques, especially the PMT calculation techniques. If you remember the way we calculated the I by Y, YTM, or present value of the of a particular project or a particular investments, those all techniques and skills will be very much used here. Now, there are two things that are bound to happen here. If you are stuck in calculation, you will lose out the beautiness of the concept. That's the reason why we have done in-depth analysis into quants, and we've spent enormous amount of time into time value of money, so that here your focus is going to be more on the concept, the new things that are going to come up, not that you're stuck in the calculation. Of course, I'll help you all with the calculation part, but I don't want you all to lose your attention from the concept to the calculation, because calculation is something that can be fixed with your time value concepts. There's nothing going to be out of it. But how well you know the concepts is more important. So don't get lost in the calculations. I'll repeat, don't get lost in the calculations. Be focused on the new concepts that are going to come up, right? So that's going to be the focus from my end, and I also want you all to focus on that part, right? Now, as of now, there are 6 total readings in fixed income. If you would see the first reading, that fixed income securities defining elements, this is purely theoretical. It's going to be an introduction of what fixed income market overall is. And this is a very lengthy topic, by the way, but very essential for anyone who wants to know what is bond market for the first time. So the topic begins from a very nascent stage to a very advanced stage. That's going to be a very interesting thing about this topic, right? So that's the first reading will cover all the basics about the bond market. The second reading here that you see, markets, issuance, trading, and funding, that's going to be about what is the primary and secondary market of fixed income, how bonds are issued in the primary market, and the process about it. Ideally, the first reading and the second reading is one and the same thing. The first reading is about what is bonds, and second reading is about how to raise bonds or how to raise capital through bonds. So, many people perhaps do it at the last also. Those who are, I've seen that those who are aware about basics about fixed income, they directly start with the third reading, which is fixed income valuation. So what we are going to do here is that, of course, we'll go in the flow, but you all can at any time when you're done with everything, I'll repeat at the end also, you all can actually start with fixed income valuation directly. That is the third reading out in the list. So the third reading, fixed income valuation, and then the fifth reading, fixed income risk and return. These are the 2 major topics where you have all your practical questions. But in order to solve those practical questions, you need to know the fixed income markets very well. And that's where the other readings are very essential for you all to do. Okay. So mostly we will go in the flow. However, you may find me, switching from one reading to another reading to the third reading to link you all with the concepts. Okay. So don't mind with that. And otherwise, mostly, will be in the flow because I have to be in the flow with the CF Institute. But do not mind if I switch from one reading to another reading to connect you with the concepts. Clear, everyone? Yes.
Yes.
So we'll begin with the first reading, that is fixed income securities, defining elements. Many things you would find that, this is what we already know because we've studied that in commerce or finance. However, I'll repeat again, it's going to be slightly in depth. So you'll feel free to discuss with me, feel free to ask me, and do participate. I would suggest everyone to participate here. I know it's an online session, not everyone participates, but do participate if your intention is definitely to learn and apply. Clear? So let's do that, and let's start with reading the first reading, that is fixed income securities, defining elements. Okay, so I'll start with first. Okay, so here is what you can see my index on the screen. And as usual, the reason that I put up the index is that so that you know what exactly we are going to cover up. So first section that you would see is where it's the overview about what bonds are, right? The second is the legal and the taxational and regulatory aspects about the bond. That's going to be the second part. The third part is about the cash flows of the bond. There are two major cash flows, coupon and the principal, which is going to be repaid to you. So how it is structured, right? That's going to be the third part. And finally, the fourth part, which is going to be the bonds with options, which are call and put options, right? Basically, bond callable and puttable bonds. Those are called bonds with contingency provisions. So it will begin from basic and it will go to an advanced stage, right? So let's begin with the overview first. And the first category that we are going to understand when we understand bonds is that what exactly a bond or a fixed income is. Why is it called fixed income? So it has various names: fixed income, bonds, debt, debentures. Basically, all means loan. All of these things means a loan or a debt. So there are two players, right, in the debt. One is a borrower and another is a lender. Clear? Now, between a borrower and lender, there is an understanding, and that understanding is perhaps a contractual agreement. So that contractual agreement is what we call as bond, right? Mostly when you join an organization, these HRs, they sign a bond with you that you're going to be with our company for the next 1 year, for the next 2 years. So bond means contract. Clear, everyone? Here is the contract between the borrower and the lender. And what is the contract? That the borrower will right now receive capital from the lender, and in return, the borrower will pay the lender interest and principal by maturity. That's a basic agreement. So what is bond? It's a contractual agreement between the issuer of the bond, that is the borrower, and the investor in the bond, which is called the bondholder or the lender. Clear? So borrowers who need capital issue securities which are invested by the lenders. That's the reason why it's called a bond or a contract. Everyone? Now in the contract, who are the or what are the features in the contract, right? First of all, it's the issuer. Issuer is the one who's going to issue the bonds or going to raise capital, correct? This bond will be raised for a particular maturity for a period of, let's say, 4 to 5 years, right? And the bond will be issued at a par value. Par value, we'll understand what exactly par value or face value is, or the nominal value is. And during the period of the bond, the investor will be receiving regular interest, which here we are going to say as coupon. So here we are going to say coupon, right? This coupon may be paid annually, semi-annually, or quarterly. That's called the frequency of the coupon. And finally, in which currency are you going to get your bond, or are you going to invest in the bond? That's called the currency denomination, right? So typical bond that you would see on your screen would be where I have put up, let's say it's a $1,000 or $100 bond. $100 here is the par value. Am I correct? So $100 bond with 10% coupon paid annually. So what is $100 here? Well, $100 you can say is the par value, right? 10% is the coupon. So my coupon is 10% and the frequency is paid annually for a period of 5 years. So 5 years is the maturity. The cash flows of this bond will be well. So look it from the, do you want to look it from the investor's perspective or issuer's perspective? Everyone? Issuer's perspective. So if I see from the issuer's perspective, let's say today that is at year 0. What is the issuer going to get? Well, the issuer is going to receive the capital of $100, isn't it?
Yes.
And for the next 5 years, what is going to happen? It's a 5-year bonds on 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. For the next 5 years, the issuer will pay 10% coupon on it annually. So the issuer will pay $10 for the next 5 years. And on maturity, the issuer will also pay the principal back. This is a typical bond. This is the way a typical bond functions. This is also called as plain vanilla bond, where right now you raise capital and over the period you pay coupon and eventually at the end you pay the principal back. Of course, the structure of coupon and principal will keep on changing and we'll learn about the different types of structures as well. A typical structure works like this. That's called a plain vanilla bond. Is that clear, everyone? Right? So initially you would see a plus 100 because we're seeing from the issuer's perspective. So the issuer will get 100 now as a cash flow. And over the 5-year period, the issuer will pay coupon. That's the interest amount. And he will also pay or she will also pay the principal on maturity. Is that clear, everyone?
Yes.
Correct. So here, if you see what are the ingredients here, you have right now the present value of the bond. You have the par value of the bond, that is the future value. You have the coupon, which is the PMT. You have the maturity, which is the N. And based on this, we can also calculate I by Y. I by Y. You remember I by Y? If you have all the components, you can calculate I by Y. That is the returns on the bond. Correct?
Yes.
Let's see that. Well, that I by Y, just for your information, is nothing but we are going to learn that I by Y in a while. But just to give you all a hint, that is nothing but that is called YTM, yield to maturity. Okay, we'll see about that in a while. So that's a typical bond. Now, who are going to be the issuer? Let's understand each and every component one by one. So who are going to be the issuers of the bond? Well, anyone who requires capital is going to be the issuer of the bond, right? So who all require capital? Well, any corporate or any organization requires capital to function for short-term or for long-term purposes, right? They can get this capital from equity or debt. Here we are focusing on the debt. We've already covered the equity part where we understood how to raise equity capital. Now we are trying to understand how to raise debt capital, right? So the first organizations that you see here, but I'm going to start it from the bottom, right? The major types of issuers. From the bottom, I'm going to start. The first one is companies or corporates. Well, organizations, they need bonds. They need to issue bonds regularly. For what? For various operational purposes, right? They may want to buy a fixed asset, right? So they may issue long-term bonds, or they may need capital for their working capital needs, right? That is for which they may issue short-term bonds, which are probably going to be less than 1 year duration. Correct? Now, within the corporates, who will issue bond? Well, both types of companies, whether financial or non-financial, whether a manufacturing or a bank, anyone will issue bonds for funding their operations. Is that clear? Right? Then you have quasi-government entities. Quasi-government entities, these are entities which are not exactly government companies, but they are sponsored or owned by the government. Agencies owned by the government, partially owned by the government, indirectly owned by the government, you can say. For example, here the Postal Service of India, the Department of Transport for UAE, or the National Highways Authority of India, or the Postal Service in Canada or USA, they are said to be the quasi-government institute or quasi-government entities who raise capital. Of course, for example, NHAI, National Highways Authority of India, regularly raises bond for funding their road projects. Clear, everyone? Right? So there are various of these quasi-government agencies which regularly issues bonds. Is that clear? A Department of water resources and management, or the ones who construct dams, the ones who construct bridges, they may, or the ones who construct schools, they issue bond. They issue bonds on a regular basis. Is that
So
clear?
this might be a state and national both, right?
No. These are quasi-government. These are not states who are issuing bonds. These are not central governments who are issuing bonds. States who issue bonds, they are called non-sovereign governments or local governments.
Okay.
And the country, when it issues the bond, the central government, when it issues the bonds, that's called a sovereign bond. Okay. So National Highway Authority of India is not a state, is a, you can say a state or a government sponsored entity, but not a state or not a government. Okay. For example, I can say Saudi Aramco is now, of course, a public company, but it's not a government or it's not any local authority. It's sponsored by the government. It's a government related entity. Okay. So these oil giants, they are not governments. They are government sponsored entities. Are you getting it?
Yes.
So they are corporates sponsored by the government. You can say that. Okay.
Okay.
Now, when a state issues bonds, for example, your let's say a state or a county or a city, for example, in your country, you can say Edmonton issues bonds, or California issues bond, or here we can say Mumbai issues bonds. Or,
municipal bonds, right?
yes, the local authority when they issue bond, or the local government when they issue bond, depending on how your structure is. If you have small kingdoms, they can issue bonds. If you have small counties, they can issue bond. If you have small municipalities or state or cities, when they issue bonds, that's called non-sovereign government bonds. Okay. So a country can have various non-sovereign government bonds. Clear? But the bonds issued by your central government, for example, government of India, government of Japan, government of USA, US Treasury bonds, basically, when they issue bonds, they are called sovereign government bonds because they carry the credit risk of your country as whole, of your government as whole. Are you getting it? Those are called sovereign government bonds or sovereign bonds simply. Is that clear?
Yes.
Right. So from corporates to quasi-government to non-sovereign government and sovereign bonds. Is that clear, everyone? And finally, you have supranational organizations. Supranational organizations, these are organizations which do not belong to a particular country, right? They probably are representative of various countries like the World Bank, the European Investment Bank, the GCC, Gulf Cooperation Council. Well, when they issue bonds, maybe for development of, or maybe for, some relief measures for COVID or flood or anything like that, or generally for, the development of a continent altogether, those are called supranational organizations. Is that clear, everyone? So World Bank or, IMF, when they issue bonds, they are called supranational governments. Is that clear, everyone? Here, yes. What is the supranational organization I have mentioned here, guys? The first one, the World Bank. You see that, everyone? Yes. Everyone? Do you remember, are you aware? And this is going to be a surprising thing, okay? I've just added this thing here for your reference. Are you aware that in 2017, World Bank had launched pandemic bond? Can you believe that? Can you see on the screen? Everyone?
Yes.
World Bank had launched the first ever pandemic bond in 2017 for $500 million. Now, of course, a lot of things must be going in your mind that, oh, they launched that in 2017. Were they aware about it? Okay. So while I was researching about various types of supranational bonds, I realized one of these bonds, and I was like, 2017 is what World Bank had already issued a indirect warning by issuing a pandemic bond. Can you believe that? Okay. Of course, that 500 million wouldn't be sufficient enough. Even 500 billions are not going to be sufficient. But I'm just saying that this raises a lot of questions. Okay. So there's just a link. If you all want to go, you all can go ahead in detail. I think what I read about it is that they did not find too much of, of course, the bond was subscribed, but they did not find too much of euphoria for it. Of course, now if they would issue a pandemic bond, it's going to be oversubscribed. But I'm just trying to say that in 2070, okay? Think about it. Correct? So these are various types of issuers of the bond. Everyone clear? Anyone, any doubts?
No.
Divesh? Anyone?
No.
Okay. So next point after the issuer, let's understand maturity. So bonds are issued for various maturities. Of course, if you need capital for short term year, we mean less than 1 year. So why do you need capital for short term? Basically for your working capital needs, like paying your operating expenses, like salaries, rents, and other utility bills. If you want to pay for those stuff, then you may issue short-term bonds. For short-term bonds which are less than 1 year, we generally go to a market which is called as money market. Money market is a market for issuing securities for less than 1 year. However, if you need capital for long duration, for example, if you need capital to construct a plant, right, or you need capital for funding a new project which is around 10 to 12 years, then you would require capital for more than 1 year. In such a case, you will go to which market? Capital markets. Capital market is a market for long-term funds. Is that clear? Right? Now, who are going to be the issuers here? Again, the governments and the corporates both can be the issuer for a short-term, for long-term. Governments for short-term, they need money for paying their staff, salaries to the police, the defense, the admin, right? For long-term, government also funds long-term projects like infrastructure projects. So government would need funds for that as well, like similar to like corporates, right? So the maturity or the tenure of the bond is basically how much time is it remaining for the bond to be repaid. So maturity or the tenure of the bond is a time remaining until the bond's redemption date. It indicates the period for which the bondholder can expect to receive. So the bondholder till maturity will receive two parts, right? Two things. What are the two things? Coupon and the principal. Is that clear? So till maturity, you will receive your coupon and principal, right? On maturity date, you will receive your principal back. But that's the case with bonds which are redeemable or which have a limited life. There are also other types of bonds which are called perpetual bonds. Now, perpetual bonds are also called as consols in UK and other Commonwealth nations. These are bonds which do not have maturity. They are bonds issued forever. Correct? They are bond issued for perpetual. That's why they are called perpetual bonds. So what is the only thing that you get in these bonds? Well, the only thing that you get in this bond is coupon, which is forever. Is that clear? Mostly perpetual bonds are issued by sovereign governments. Correct? Why do they issue perpetual bonds? Well, the major objective of issuing the perpetual bond is to fund some projects which are not only, which may not be necessarily economically profitable, but they may be for a lot of social activity or investments in the future, right? For future technology or future development of the humanity as such. So those are generally mostly issued by initially they were mostly issued by sovereign governments. For example, I remember the British government had issued bonds to fund their World War projects. So they had issued perpetual bonds at that time. I'm talking about 70, 80 years back. So many countries have issued perpetual bonds in the past. Of late, especially after 90s, even corporates have issued perpetual bonds. Now, perpetual does not only mean infinite. Some companies issue bond for 100, 200, and even 1,000 years. For example, Canadian Pacific Corporation has issued bonds for 1,000 years. Now, who's going to live for 1,000 years, right? But these are bonds which are going to be there forever. Walt Disney issued the first bond, I remember, in 94, 95, where they had issued a 100-year bond. Then followed Coca-Cola, Ford, Caterpillar, and many other groups, including Citigroup. They issued bonds for more than 100 years or 100 years. Is that clear? Right?
Yes.
So yeah, go ahead.
So the corporates include both financial and non-financial corporations? Okay.
So here, if you see Citigroup is a financial company, Walt Disney, Coca-Cola, of course, they are non-financial companies. So even they have issued bonds. And you would also find quasi-government or semi-government companies issuing bonds, or this authorities issuing bonds. Clear? Now,
yes.
I just checked that, we understand that companies do issue 100-year and 200-year bonds, but do they actually exist? So, the governments have also issued bonds. I told you, like the British government, the government of Argentina, Austria, Mexico, even they have issued 100-year plus bonds. So I actually researched and I found out that there is actually a company which is still paying the interest on the bond. Okay, so there is this company, the Dutch Water Resource Authority, I think. It's been 367 years, and this is an article from 2015. So it's more than 372 years that they are still paying interest on the bond. They had issued the bond at 1648, right? The Dutch water bond housed at Yale. So Dutch water bond, basically. Now, I think the bond owner is the group from Yale. So they own the bond, but basically they are still paying coupon on the bond. Of course, the coupon is very minuscule as far as I am aware. But I've just attached the link in case if you all want to read. It's been 370 plus years and they are still paying coupon. Okay. So it's not that bonds which are issued for 100 years and they don't pay interest. No. Of course, they are paying interest. So just imagine that a company or an authority paying interest till date today. They've passed multiple wars and they are still paying coupon. It's a very strange thing, but that still exists. Just for your extra knowledge. Okay. Now there was something else I wanted to share about the perpetual bond. Is that can a startup issue a perpetual bond? And even if it does, would you invest in it? Of course not. So perpetual bonds are mostly issued by sovereign governments, or as I said, for those authorities which you believe will be there for a longer duration, or companies which you believe will, which has an existence of 30, 40 years, and probably you feel secure about them for the next 30, 40 years as well. Of course, it's uncertain about any company these days, but I'm just trying to say that you need to have that much credibility in the company so that the company issues 100-year bonds. Is that clear? Right. Basically, Argentina had tried issuing 100-year bond, and the problem is that Argentina is facing financial mess or financial distress since many years now. So even though they had issued 100-year bond, they were unable to get proper subscription, and the bond was not fully issued as far as I'm aware. They did not get enough response. So that's the case. You can't issue 100-year. Anyone cannot issue 100-year bond. Is that clear? Everyone clear about maturity?
Yes.
Let's go to the next thing, that is the par value. Par value of the bond is the nominal value or the face value of the bond. Generally, a face value is used for the distribution of coupon, or how much of the coupon or interest will be paid. So let's say you can buy the bond at discount. I may buy the bond at premium, and someone else may buy the bond at par. We may buy the bond at any price, depending on whatever the demand supply is. But we all will be paid interest on a common value, and that is called the face value or the par value of the bond. Correct? So what is the use of par value? Well, the par value is generally used for coupon payment, but the amount that also the issuer agrees to repay you or pay you back on maturity, right? So the amount that the issuer agrees to repay the bondholders on maturity date, it's called the par value. In practice, bonds are quoted as percentage of their par value. So when I say a bond is quoted at 102%, When I say a bond is quoted at 102%, what does it mean? What does it mean? Yes, everyone. When I say a bond is quoted at 102%, it means more than the par, which is called as premium.
Premium.
Is that clear? And when I say a bond is quoted at, let's say 95%, it means it is quoted 95% of whatever the par is. That means it's a discount bond. Is that clear, everyone?
Yes.
Right? Now, if nothing given, very, very important. If nothing given, we always assume that the bond will be redeemed at par.
Face value.
So you will not be mentioned in the question. You have to assume by default. If nothing given, the bond is always and always redeemed at
Par value.
Par value. Is that clear, everyone? Right? Now, what can be the par value? Well, the par value can be anything for which you'll have to look in the question. The par value can be 100, it can be 1000, it can be 1 million, it can be anything. For this, you will have to properly look into the question, and then you will come to know what is the par value. You'll have to rely on the information in the question, right? It depends on what the issuer wants to raise. The issuer wants to raise the capital with every bond at $100 or $100 million, depending on what is the ticket size the issuer is looking at, right? So par value can be anything. It depends on the issuer. For us, it will depend on the question. Based on the question, we'll understand whether the par value is 100,000 or 1 million, whatever it is. We'll come to know that easily. Is that clear, everyone?
Yes.
Right. So what exactly I'm trying to do? I'm trying to understand each and every component. So we've understood who are going to be the issuers. We have understood the importance of maturity, the importance of par value. So now gradually I'll look into the coupon, then the currency, and then probably the YTM. So step by step, we are understanding all the components of the bond. Anyone, Deep, Divesh, everyone out here, if you have any doubts, please let me know. Okay. So the next thing apart from the par value is what I'm going to look out at coupon. Now we are of course going to understand about coupon in detail when we go to the coupon structure. But what is coupon? Why is it called coupon here and why not interest? Well, first of all, you can say the interest on the bond, but here in bonds, we have a very important relevance of the interest rates in the market. So to not get confused with the interest rates in the market, with the interest rate on your bond, we generally refer the interest rate on the bond as coupon. Is that clear? Yes. Now, coupon is some percentage of the par value. For example, when I say coupon is 5%, so whatever is the par value into 5% will be your coupon. Clear? This coupon can be paid annually, semi-annually, quarterly, monthly, or anything. That's called frequency of payment. Is that clear, everyone? Frequency of coupon payment can be annual, semi-annual, quarterly, anything that will be mentioned in the contract. That will be mentioned in the question. You need not worry about it. Now, remember one thing. Of course, not now. Maybe in level 2, you will have to realize that in US, all the bonds, generally all the bonds in US are semi-annually paid. The coupons are paid semi-annually in those bonds. So by default, people who are trading in US bonds, they by default consider semi-annual coupon payment. Is that clear? But that's not the case outside US. Outside US, for example, in most of the Commonwealth countries like UK, India, Australia, the coupons are paid annually. Again, for you all not to get confused with, you will look out that in the question. If not mention anything in the question, assume that the bonds are paid annually. Clear? That's not going to be the case in level 2. In level 2, I'll probably at that time I'll let you all know that there the default is semi-annually. Here we will be given specifically in the question whether you have to take semi-annual or annual coupon. Don't worry. You don't have to assume anything. Clear? Right. Now, how is the coupon paid? In this example which I showed you all, everyone, was the coupon amount fixed or was it keeping on changing?
Fixed.
Fixed. So there are 3 types of coupon payment structure. First is fixed coupon. The second is variable, which is called as a floating rate note. So fixed coupons, we all know what's the case with plain vanilla, right? So the coupon amount is fixed and it does not change. In a floating rate note, your coupon keeps on changing based on some reference rate or some benchmark rate. That benchmark generally can be any rate, including the most famous one, LIBOR. So let's say your bond's interest rate is LIBOR plus 100 basis point. What is 100 basis point, by the way? 1 basis point means 0.01 percentage. So 100 basis point means 1%, everyone. So when I say your interest rate on the bond or the coupon on the bond is LIBOR plus 100 basis point, it means whatever will be the LIBOR plus 1% extra will be your coupon, everyone. So what will keep on changing? The LIBOR will keep on changing. And as the LIBOR keeps on changing, your bonds coupon will also keep on changing. Is that clear, everyone? Right? That 100 basis point, why is that 100 basis point extra? That's a spread. Spread is generally because of the credit risk, right? Because you're not risk-free institute, so you will be charged some spread. Higher the credit risk, higher will be the spread. Clear? But as the LIBOR keeps on changing, your coupon will also keep on increasing or decreasing with respect to the reference rate. That is a LIBOR. Is that clear, everyone? So two types of coupons, fixed coupon and floating, which is called a floating rate note or floating rate bond. Then comes very interesting thing, and that's a zero coupon bond. A zero coupon bond, by the name itself, says that it will not pay any coupon. Well, if it does not pay any coupon, what is the only thing that you're going to get in the bond? Only the price appreciation. So these bonds, since bonds are always redeemed at par, these are bonds which are issued at discount to the par. For example, right now you are investing in a 5-year bond, which is right now issued at $80. And nothing will be paid during the 5-year. Only on the last, you'll be paid $100 back. So overall, you'll get $20 gain, but over the period of 5 years. I mean, if you hold the bond till the last, right? Because nothing will be paid in between. Is that clear? So zero coupon bonds are bonds which are issued at dash and redeemed at dash. I'll repeat, they are issued at dash. Fill in the blank.
Issued at discount.
Issued at discount and redeemed at par. Clear? They do not pay coupon, and the difference between the issue price and the redemption price is the only return that you would get. Clear? Now, these bonds are also called as pure discount bonds because they are completely discounted and there is nothing else paid in the bond. So these bonds are also called as pure discount bond. Clear? Everyone? Right. So that's the coupon structure. Now,
who generally issues zero coupon bonds, like governments or like corporations?
Anyone can issue zero coupon bond, including corporates. Now, of course, you would feel that who would invest in this bond? That should be your general doubt.
Yes.
Or why should I invest in the bond? Well, we'll come to that. We'll understand zero coupon bond and the interesting part of zero coupon bond after I discuss YTM. Because once I'll discuss YTM, the first investor in the zero coupon bond is going to be you. Okay. So we'll understand YTM and then I'll discuss which type of, because in the calculation of YTM and price, I will consider the premium, the discount, the par bond and the zero coupon bond. All types of bonds are considered. Okay. At that time, I'll discuss who will invest and who will issue. Clear?
Yes.
Now, what are bonds issued and in which currency? Normally, you know, a company tries to issue bond in its local or domestic currency, considering domestic investors as the focus. But a bond can be issued in any currency, depending on where you are issuing the bonds and who are you targeting. Most of the bonds are generally issued in dollars or euros so that you target global investors. However, if your target is going to be local investors, then you will, of course, issue bonds in your local currency, right? So depending on liquidity, depending on the target market, and depending on where you need the funds from and where you want to deploy, you issue bonds in different currencies, right? Many developing countries who need capital from the developed countries, they also issued bond in the developed countries currencies like dollar and euro, as I said. So domestic bonds, these are bonds which are issued and paid in one currency. That is your domestic currency. Clear?
Domestic. Yes.
There is a dual currency bond. Dual currency bond, these bonds make coupon payments in one currency and the principal is repaid back in another currency. Are you getting it? Here the coupon is paid, let's say, in dollars, and the principal may be repaid back in, let's say, euro. Okay, that's called a dual currency bond. Clear? Now, like dual currency bond, you have a currency option bond. But in dual currency bond, it is the issuer who has decided that in what currency does the issuer wants to give you coupon and in what currency the issuer wants to give you back in your principal. But in currency option bond, you have that choice to select. So there are combination of single currency bond with a foreign currency option. They give the bondholders the right to choose the currency in which they want their interest or principal. Is that clear? So here, compared to dual currency bond, currency option bond also has two currencies, different for principal and different for coupon. But here, who gets a choice to select in the currency option bonds? Who gets a choice to select, the issuer or the investor?
Investor.
The investor gets the choice to select. Is that clear, everyone? Right? So if you recollect, I had told you all that, you know, Argentina was trying to issue bonds. So Argentinian government had issued, you know, $1.6 billion dual currency bond in 2020. See, understand, Argentinian currency peso is highly depreciated. So they had to issue, you know, dollar denominated bond, and they had issued in dual currency where, you know, the bonds can be denominated in dollar as well as in Argentinian peso. Of course, I'm not going in detail about that structure. You can just go through the link and understand that. But many governments do that. Indonesian government had also issued dual currency bond. Most of the time, the developing countries issue dual currency bond so that they can attract the domestic investors as well as the foreign investors. Clear? Everyone? Any questions, anyone, with the currency of the bond? Anyone? Any questions?
No.
If no questions, then let's come to the most important section of the bond, that is YTM. What is YTM? YTM is nothing but yield to maturity. Yield means returns. It's also pronounced as yield. Y silent. Yield means returns on the bond in terms of percentage. Well, in corporate finance, you know, return on the project is what we call as IRR. What is IRR? Internal rate of return. What is IRR, by the way? It is a point at which present value of cash inflow equals to present
Inflow is equal to present outflow.
Cash outflow, correct? So it's the rate of return at which if you discount the cash inflows, its value will be equal to the present value of cash outflows. So that's a discounting rate on the project. Just imagine here that that project is bonds. So the discounting rate on the bond, which equates the future cash flows, when discounted to the present value of the bond. That's called the IRR of the bond or the YTM of the bond. Correct? So from the investor's point of view, you can say the returns on the bond in percentage is nothing but YTM. Yield to maturity. So the one who holds a bond till maturity, what is the percentage return he or she is going to achieve? That's called YTM on the bond. From the quant's perspective, I can say YTM is nothing but the compounded return for investing in the bond till maturity. I'll repeat, YTM is the compounded return for investing in the bond till maturity. Now, do you remember the concept of compounding interest rates? For example, if the compounding rate is 15%, what does it mean? That every year you're getting 15% and you are also reinvesting at 15%. Is that clear?
Yes.
So the meaning of compounding is what is the biggest difference between simple and compounding rate, guys? is the concept of the biggest difference.
Reinvestment.
Yes. Our first lecture, guys, and the first slide. The biggest difference between simple and compounding interest is the concept of reinvestment, where YTM will assume that the reinvestment also happens at YTM. Clear? So YTM is nothing but the compounded rate of return on the bond till maturity. Is that clear? Now, before I discuss you the relationship between the price of the bond and the YTM, let us see this example, and I would need your help here. Everyone ready with the calculators? Everyone has the calculators with them?
Yes.
So let's do this sum and try to do the YTM calculation, right? On your screen, what do you see? You have a 10% bond with par value of 1,000 is issued for a period of 5 years with annual coupon. So the coupon is paid annually. So how much would be the coupon, everyone? 10% on 1,000. So your coupon is going to be 100. Am I correct? Clear?
Yes.
I'll repeat, your coupon is going to be why 100? Because 10% on 1,000, right? It's a 5-year maturity. So can I say my N will be 5? $1,000 par value. So if nothing mentioned on maturity, how much should I get? 1,000. Now what is going to be 1,000? 1,000 is nothing but it's going to be my par value or future value, you can say. Correct. And what is the investment now? That's called the present value of the bond. So as of now, the investment, they have given us 3 choices. Either it can be 950, 1,000 or 1,050. So I'm putting here minus 950. Everyone, minus 950. Are you getting it? Why minus 950? Why minus 950, everyone?
Because this is an outflow.
This is an outflow compared to all other things.
Other are the inflow.
This is the only outflow. So today you invest in the bond, let's say 950 till maturity. Every year you'll get $100 coupon, and on maturity you'll get $1,000 as your par value back. Now, before you go on your calculation, I want to ask you all, what is the return from any instrument? What is the return from any instrument? Well, you know that from equity, from project financing, from QM. Well, the return from any instrument is nothing but in 2 forms. What are the 2 forms, guys? Income and price difference, isn't it? Income and price difference, right? For example, income in bond is coupon, in equity is equity dividend, in real estate is rent. Clear? And price difference means at what price did you buy and what price you are selling. Is there any third type of return? Well, these are the 2 prominent returns, right? Income and price difference. Now, guys, before you all hit the calculator button, I want to ask you all that just see this bond, the middle one, the right in the center. Are you getting income and price difference both? Just check out this bond. Everyone. And I need answers from everyone. Those who are silent, I need answers from them as well. Are you getting price difference or only coupon?
Only coupon.
Only coupon? So, and what is a coupon? 10%. So 10% is the only return that you're going to get from the bond. So your YTM will also be 10% only. Is that clear?
Yes.
Now, if you invest the bond cheap, less than 1,000, that's where you make price gain. That's where you make capital gain also. Am I correct? Capital gain is when you buy the bond cheap and sell it at a higher value. So see the discount bond. You buy at 950 and eventually you're selling at 1,000. So apart from 10% coupon, you are also getting some price difference. So definitely in this case, I can say that your YTM is going to be
greater
than the coupon. Clear?
Yes.
Your YTM was equal to coupon. So when you buy the bond at premium, guys, when you buy the bond at premium and then you redeem it at par, I can say you got coupon of 10%, but you did lose out in the capital change, right? Why? Because you bought the bond at premium and then you redeem the bond at par. Am I clear? So can I say in such a case, your YTM will be less than coupon? Everyone with me on this?
Yes.
So can you draw out a relation? If it's a discount bond, if it's a par bond, and if it's a premium bond, everyone. In a discount bond, what is the situation? Your YTM is
Greater
than coupon.
In
a par bond, your YTM will be equal to coupon, and in a premium bond, your YTM will be less than coupon. This is the relation which I want to take before I go and hit the calculators. Everyone with me? Clear?
Yes.
Right? So now let's go to the calculator, everyone. Let's go to the calculator and try to calculate this. So I will go to the calculator. Let me jump to the calculator. Okay.
11.36.
So the first bond, I will put 950 negative as PV. My 100 was PMT, 1000 was, par, 5 was NCPT I by Y. I get 11.36 as my discount bonds yield, right? Now the only thing I need to change for the premium bond is 1050 negative as PV CPT I by Y. I will get the yield for a premium bond, that is 8.72. Clear, everyone? So let's put that across the figures that we got. How much did we get for the premium bond?
Premium 8.72.
8.72, correct, which is less than the coupon, right? And for the discount bond, we got 11.36. Okay, so basically, if you now check your YTM and the relationship with the coupon. So before I go ahead, now guys, everyone, for a discount bond, YTM will be greater than coupon. Everyone with me? For a par bond, YTM will be equal to coupon. And for a premium bond, guys, YTM will be less than coupon. I don't want you all to memorize this. I want you all to fix that in your mind, the logic. If the bond is issued at par and redeemed at par, then the only return I get is from coupon. So my YTM is going to be equal to the coupon. Now, when will I achieve more than coupon? Well, you will achieve more than coupon if you buy a bond at discount or at premium.
Discount.
If you buy the bond at discount, your YTM, which is return, is going to be more than coupon. If you buy the bond at premium, your YTM is going to be less than coupon. Is that clear, everyone?
Yes.
So now just tell me, if the bond was at 1000 was the value of the bond. When I increase the price to 1050, what happened to the yield? The yield increased or decreased? From 1000, when I increase the price of the bond, what happened to the YTM of the bond? Did it increase or decrease? Decreased. And when I reduce the price, the YTM? Increase. That's why, all else being equal, there is an inverse relationship between the YTM and the bond price. Everyone. So the relationship between bond price and YTM is inverse. Is that clear? So if the yields increase, the price of the bond will go down, or if the yields decrease, the price of the bond will come up or rise. One and the same thing. Is that clear, everyone? Anyone has any questions? Right? Anyone, any questions?
No.
Now, what if I had issued a zero coupon bond? What if I had issued a zero coupon bond here? Then in such a case, let me just add one more thing here. Let me just add one more situation here. Okay, suppose I'm issuing a zero coupon bond. Clear? Now in that zero coupon bond, I will write ZCB. What will be the PV? Let's say the PV will be at discount. Let me put up that, hypothetically, let me put up that as 825. What will be the PMT? Anyone?
0.
0, and FV will be par. Here my N will be 5. Now here there is no comparison with the coupon because there is nothing. There is no coupon, right? But now when I will calculate my YTM, how do I calculate my YTM? Just put PMT 0 and PV as minus 825. And let me know what is your YTM. CPT I by 1. How much?
15.25.
15.25%. Okay. Now, tell me one thing. Assume that, this zero coupon bonds yield. And let's say any other bonds yield is same year. Assume that all the bonds have same yield. Let's assume that all the bonds have same yield. Then can I say you are indifferent between choosing whichever bond you want to invest? If all the bonds have same YTM, then are you indifferent or not? Your way of investment is that where you get YTM, right? So if all the bonds give you the same yield, are you indifferent or not? You are indifferent. Clear? But what if you have now the first 3 bonds that you see, they are coupon bearing bonds. These bonds that you see, they are all coupon bearing bonds. And the last one is the zero coupon bond, correct? Now let's say you have a coupon bearing bond and a zero coupon bond. A coupon bearing bond and a zero coupon bond. Both have same yield. Which bond will you choose?
Zero coupon.
Now Deepthi is saying here zero coupon bond. What about the other guys? Divesh and Deep. Do you have any answer or nothing?
Zero coupon bond.
Everyone, zero coupon bond? Now, if you want to be CFA, it's, to be very honest, it's not going to happen just by seeing the lectures, okay? I will not let you all just see the lecture. I will challenge your minds. I will not let you all sit idle and have fun. Okay. That should be the difference between watching a movie and watching a lecture. Now, I gave you all choice. What was the choice that I gave you all? Please tell me.
Choose between zero coupon bond and discount bond.
No. Choose between a zero coupon bond and a coupon bearing bond.
Coupon bearing bond.
And what did I say is common in both of them?
Yield.
The yield is common. And what was the answer by the class? That we will choose?
Zero coupon bond.
Okay. Now, let me change your answers. What if after 3 years, both the companies default? Where have you lost your maximum money?
Zero coupon bond.
Zero coupon bond.
Because you did not get anything till maturity. Are you getting it? But in a coupon bearing bond, at least you got coupon for the first 3 years. Right? So now, what is the advantage of issuing a zero coupon bond? Well, the advantage of issuing a zero coupon bond is that you don't have to be worried about reinvestment. Whose headache it is about reinvestment? The issuer or the investor?
Issuer.
It's the headache of the issuer to reinvest and give you 15%. You don't have to be worried about that. Clear? But in a coupon bearing bond, the issuer will just pay you coupon, and then whose headache it is to get the same returns for reinvestment? Someone bears the reinvestment risk, right? In a coupon bearing bond, who bears that reinvestment risk, guys? I, the investor, bears it. In the zero coupon bond, who bears the reinvestment risk? The issuer.
Sure.
So from returns perspective, of course, zero coupon bond is better because I don't have to worry about the reinvestment. But from the risk perspective, zero coupon bond is riskier because if somewhere the bond defaults, I have lost everything in the zero coupon bond. Compared to that, in coupon bearing bond, I at least get something. So zero coupon bond is better from a returns perspective, but also riskier. Is that clear? Right? So my question to the class, when there is a risk, which risk? Credit risk. Credit risk, I'll come to that point. Basically, credit risk, we are going to discuss credit risk, is the risk that the bond will default. Well, if the bond defaults, then there is a credit risk. So which bond has relatively more credit risk? Zero coupon bond or a coupon bond? Well, zero coupon bond has more credit risk, but also has better potential for returns because the reinvestment returns is taken care by the issuer. Clear? Now, coming to your question, Deepthi, you asked me that who will issue a zero coupon bond? For example, let's say I'm going to start a company, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I will require to invest in the property, the plant for the next 5 to 10 years. So my operational will itself not start for the next 5 to 7 years or 8 years. I will start generating production and revenue from probably 7th or 8th or 10th year. So if I'm not going to be able to produce anything or sell anything, how will I make money and give you interest? Are you getting it? So then there are various organizations which issue zero coupon bond because they are not going to be in the position to pay coupons. But once they start generating revenues, they may probably give you all the yield. That is one reason. Clear? Right?
Yes.
The second reason is that what if I've issued bond for less than 1 year? What if I've issued bond for 90 days? Now, where should I give you coupon in 90 days? Correct? If I've issued a bond only for 90 days, then better I issue the bond at discount and repay on par. Clear? So mostly the bonds which are issued for less than 1 year, what type of bond do we call them? What type of securities do we call them?
T-bills.
Money market securities.
Money market.
Money market securities are securities which are issued for less than 1 year. Most of the money market securities which are issued for less than 1 year, of course, they do not pay coupon. They are issued at discount and redeemed at par. Clear? Right?
Yes.
So those who want to invest or issue money for less than 1 year, they invest in discounted bonds or zero coupon bonds. Right? That's the thing. Yes, anyone, any doubts? Clear everything about YTM? Everyone? YTM is the most important thing in the bond. So anyone tells you what is YTM? YTM is the yield till maturity. Returns for holding the bond till maturity. This YTM is going to be greater than coupon if you have purchased the bond at discount. If you purchase the bond at premium, your YTM is going to be less than coupon. And if the bond is trading at par, your YTM will be equal to coupon. Clear? Now, what is the thing that you get from the bond every year? What is the thing that you get from the bond every year?
Coupon.
Okay. Now, when I calculate returns, well, YTM includes both. What both? The returns in the form of coupon as well as in the form of price change. That is capital gains or loss, right? Clear?
Yes.
But there is another thing which is called as current yield. Current yield considers returns from the bond only in the form of income, which is coupon. It ignores the price change. It ignores the price change. So therefore, current yield also has another name called running yield or income yield. Income yield, why it is called income yield? Because it only considers return in the form of income, which is coupon. Whereas YTM considers not only income, but also the redemption value, right? That's why it's called yield to redemption or yield to maturity or redemption yield or IRR of the bond. So what is the biggest difference between current yield and YTM? Everyone?
Current yield only,
Yes.
only takes income,
Right.
and here it takes income and capital gain.
Correct. So which is a broader term? Current yield or YTM?
YTM.
YTM is a much broader term, right? The concept of current yield is similar to dividend yield in equities. What was dividend yield in equities? Do you remember dividend yield? Dividend yield, yes, based on which you calculate the Gordon's growth. Dividend yield is nothing but dividend over price. Here, instead of dividend yield, I say coupon yield. So instead of dividend, I can write coupon upon price. So same like dividend yield, you have current yield. If dividend yield is dividend upon price, coupon yield or current yield is coupon upon price. Easy. So whatever the bond's annual coupon is divided by the bond's current market price is called the current yield, right? So for example, here you have 3 bonds, okay? And all the bonds have the par value of 1000 and the coupon rate is given 4.8%. 4.8% on 1000 means 48, right? So 48 is going to be my coupon, annual coupon, right? And the market price I have here is 996.57. Then I have here 1000 and here I have 1008.42. Now, how do I calculate, guys? What is going to be my calculation? How do I calculate the current yield?
48 divided by 996.
Yes. So you will do 48 divided by 996. Your answer will be slightly higher than 4.8%. Here it has to be 4.8%. Please let me know what is going to be the answer here. And the last one, you'll have slightly more than 4.8%. Let me know your answers. 996.
4.82.
4.82. And the last one is slightly less than 4.8. So it will be 4.76%, right? Now the problem with current yield is that first of all, it does not give you a full picture. It only considers coupon, right? But some people do want to know what is the yield that I'll get. What is the returns that I'm going to get if I invest immediately and in the first year? Because principal you will get paid back at the last. So what is the 1 year returns I'll get in the form of income? That is current yield. Now, what are the problems with current yield? First of all, it ignores the frequency of the coupon. Frequency of the coupon. So bond A, B, and C, irrespective whether they are semi-annual or quarterly or anything, what does the formula say? Annual coupon payment. Are you getting it? Annual coupon. So it ignores the frequency. That's the first negative point. Are you with me on this? Clear? Any accrued interest in the denominator. So first of all, bond's current market price. Now, what if you're trading the bond? You're seeing the bond's value in between the year. You know, if you're finding the bond's value at the end of the year, it's fine. The coupon is already paid. But what if you're finding the bond's value at, let's say, after the 3 months have passed from the last coupon? Then what about that 3-month accrued interest? Shouldn't that be added in the bond's price? Well, that is ignored. Clear? And the third thing, that in this entire concept, I have not considered time value of money. Clear? So we should consider time value of money because you invest now and you're going to get coupon at the end of the year or maybe in the mid-year somewhere. So we are ignoring the time value of money concept. That's the third problem. Clear? So the question is, why do we see current yield? Well, we see current yield just to see how much is the income that we will generate from the bond in 1 year. Is that clear, everyone? That's the only purpose of current yield. Otherwise, current yield is not much look. People mostly look for YTM. Am I clear, everyone? For you all to remember what is current yield, you should remember always dividend yield. Dividend yield and current yield are analogous. Dividend yield is dividend over price. Current yield is what is
coupon over price.
Coupon over price. Is that clear? Right. Now, are bonds riskier or not? What is the biggest risk in the bond? What is the biggest risk?
Credit risk.
Credit risk. Credit risk means
that the issuer will default.
The issuer will default. So who's going to tell you the bond is risky or not? How will you come to know whether the bond is riskier or not?
Credit analyst.
Credit analyst. And how does a credit analyst communicate to you whether the bond is risky or not? Through credit rating. Everyone. So there are various credit rating agencies which do this job, and they give you a score. Based on that score, you will come to know how much is the risk of your bond. Is that clear, everyone?
Yes.
So let's understand what is credit risk. Credit risk, yes, as you rightly said, is the risk of losing your capital, is the risk that the bond owner or the bond issuer will not repay you your principal back or will not pay you on time your interest payments. So whenever the bond fails to make timely payments or fails to make the payment in full, that's called the credit risk of the bond, right? Now, what type of bonds face credit risk? Well, all the bonds have some credit risk. All the bonds have some credit risk, except those issued by governments. Why? Why government's bonds are called risk-free bonds? Why are government bonds called risk-free bonds? Why are government bonds called risk-free bonds? Everyone in the class. No one? Well, no one to answer. I'm surprised. Why are government bonds called risk-free bonds? First of all, are you aware that government bonds are called risk-free bonds?
Because they are backed with the central.
What do you mean by backed? Let's come to that exact point. See, the reason, I'll tell you all everyone here, okay? Even to the other candidates. The reason that you all have joined me is that we can probably discuss these things. Otherwise, it's very easy for me to just say the word and, do the lectures fast and finish the portion quickly. I know that is not my objective or way of teaching, and that's the purpose for which you all have not joined. So I encourage everyone to participate and let me know, right? I can quickly answer the question and move out. But the reason I'm asking 3, 4, 5 times again and again, what do you think? What do you think? Is just to put that thing in you. That's the way
because they're backed by like central banks.
Just 1 minute, Deepti. I'm actually saying everyone in the
Sorry,
class.
yeah.
Are you getting it, everyone? Deepti is very, proactive in responding. But I know the other guys are also analysts here. So you all can definitely respond here. Otherwise, it's easy for me to just, quickly do it from the notes. Yeah, go ahead, Deepti.
Because they are backed by the central banks.
So that's my question. What do you mean by backed? Backed?
Sir, at the end, if they don't pay, government will print the money and repay the bond.
Yes. The government has the magic wand. What is the magic wand? That magic wand is that if they don't have money, they can just have that magic wand. They have the currency printing machine. They can print the currencies and repay back. Of course, printing the currency and paying back is not recommended. Otherwise, you can keep on printing currencies, and then your situation is going to be like Argentina, Venezuela, or Zimbabwe, where you will end up into hyperinflation. When you print too much of currencies these days, what happens? Hyperinflation means the value of your money goes down, right? So governments don't want to do that, but governments do have a choice of doing that. That's why, government bonds are virtually said to be risk-free. But remember one thing which is not there in the notes and which I will not even write it, is that only domestic currency government bonds are risk-free. I'll repeat, only domestic currency government bonds are risk-free. If the Indian government issues bonds in US dollar, is that risk-free? No, because the Central Bank of India does not have the authority to print US dollars. It has the authority to print Indian rupee, but not US dollars. Is that clear? Right?
Yes.
So which is the world's most traded currency?
US.
US dollar. And who has the authority to print US dollar? The Federal Bank. So the securities issued by the US government, that is the US Treasury, said to be the world's risk-free security, or also called as safe haven. Are you aware that it's called, I think it has called different names, greenhouse or safe haven. That's what they use. Several synonyms that they have for US dollar securities. Is that clear? Government securities. But apart from government securities, there is some element of credit risk in all the bonds. Is that clear? And that credit risk is evaluated by credit rating agencies. The three famous credit rating agencies in the world are Moody's, S&P, and Fitch. Everyone, Moody's, S&P, and Fitch. A quick question to all the participants here. Out of these three agencies, which is the one agency famous in India?
Moody's.
Standard and Poor.
Standard and Poor. It has a subsidiary in India named as CRISIL.
CRISIL.
Everyone aware about CRISIL in India, right? And that CRISIL it belongs to Standard and Poor. Clear? So S&P is the world's most famous rating agency, and S&P has rating scale AAA, AA, single A, and so on. So this is just an extra slide for you all. You can just check out the S&P's rating here. That is the most famous and most used by the industry. What does this plus and minus sign denote? Can anyone tell me? Plus means there is a chance of upgrade. It has a potential of getting upgrade. Minus means it has a potential of getting downgrade. Clear?
Yes.
And when there is no sign, it means stable outlook. Clear? So which is called the best rating here? AAA. And the worst rating will be C and D and so on. Now, what you all need to remember is that the rating till BBB minus, from the top, that's called investment grade. This category is called, what is this called as? Investment grade bonds. So bonds which are issued with credit rating, over and above BBB minus, they are called investment grade bonds. Okay, and those which are below BBB minus are called as junk bonds, or they are called as non-investment grade bonds. Which one will you prefer to invest? Investment grade or below that?
Investment grade.
Investment grade.
Investment grade, right? Now, many institutional investors like insurance companies, pension funds, sovereign wealth funds, they are mandated to invest major part of their money in bonds which are having investment grade, which means above BBB minus. Is that clear? BBB minus and better. Clear?
Yes.
Now, let's say the total bond market is of, let's say, $100 billion. Okay, let's give an example. Of course, it's much higher. Maybe it's in trillions of dollars. So let's say a total bond market is $10 trillion. Assume it. How much? $10 trillion. Out of that, around 70 to 80% of the money will be in which type of bonds?
Investment grade bonds.
Investment grade bonds. Do you know what is India's credit rating? Do you know what is India's credit rating?
BBB minus.
Yes, very, very, very good. India's credit rating is on the edge, BBB minus. So if the credit rating agencies downgrade India and put it to BB plus, what will the institutional investors do? They will have to sell their investments into Indian bonds. Are you getting? So all of a sudden there will be billions of dollars of outflow. Are you getting the importance of credit rating for the government, even though that is being managed by these private agencies? And do you see the powers that these private agencies have? Right? That's the reason why they dominate. Even though they are private agencies, governments are scared of them. Everyone. Just imagine if India's credit rating is downgraded by one notch, what will happen? The entire money will be pulled out from Indian market. Clear. So it's very crucial for the government to keep on maintaining its credit rating. Got my point? So I have a lot of questions coming from my students that, sir, how does it matter that, of a credit rating agency, let them say whatever they want to say, right? How does it matter to a government? I say, well, you don't know how does it matter. It matters a lot, because once your credit rating is downgraded, and especially for us, then the entire institutional investors from the world, right from Norwegian pension fund to Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, who have parked millions and billions of dollars probably in our bonds, they will all sell it off. You're getting it? That's how rating matters. Now, unfortunately, the rating is not always reliable and it always lags. For example, in 2007-8 crisis, the bonds by Lehman Brothers, just before the days of default, they were rated AAA. They were rated AAA. So you are holding a AAA bond, which after 2 days was a junk bond. So if you all have seen that movie Big Shot, which I'll discuss at length when we do securitization, in that movie, it is very, very well described how rating agencies are more of dominating and they lag what's happening in the market. Okay, it's a very good discussion about rating agencies there. Is that clear, everyone? Right? Yes. So I've mentioned here investment grade, BBB minus and higher is investment grade, and below that. Some regulators put limitations or restrictions on financial institutions such as banks and life insurance companies on holding of non-investment grade bonds. So they cannot have more than, let's say, 20% of their money in non-investment grade bonds and so on. Clear? Now here's a link where I want to show you all the sovereign ratings of countries. Can you see the screen, everyone? Everyone visible?
Yes.
US AA+, UK AA, Germany AAA. Then you would see Italy and Portugal. It's very surprising. Italy and Portugal, who are the on the verge of bankruptcy, they have BBB. Right? Okay, that's very strange. So then you can see UAE AA, and yes, where is India? Canada, you can see AAA. Wow. Switzerland is AAA. We have BBB minus. India, if you see BBB minus. Okay, so that's the credit rating that India has. Let's see about our neighbors. Our neighbors have -B. So we need to pray for them. So yeah.
So what if the ratings are like below BBB negative, below
BBB negative?
Yeah, BBB negative.
Those are risky bonds.
Risky bonds. So doesn't like anyone not invest like in those bonds?
No, people will invest. I'm just saying that their yields will be very higher.
Okay.
There are investors for everything. Don't worry. There are investors for junk bond also. Well, junk bonds are more like equities.
Mm-hmm.
Understand? They are like equities. So they are also called as equity bonds. They are said to be like equity bonds only, because there you may gain or lose everything, like equities. So there's a market for everything. Let me tell you, there's a market for C bonds, D bonds, every bonds. It's just that lower your credit rating, the higher will be the yield.
Yield. Yes.
Because higher is the risk. Clear? But I'm just saying it's easier for governments to raise capital if their bond rating is better. That's how easier it is. For example, it's if my credit score is better, I'll get home loan easily. If my credit score is bad, doesn't mean I'll not get home loan. I'll get home loan, but maybe I'll have to pay higher interest rates, or maybe I'll get for lesser maturity or for lesser amount, right?
Yes. So this rating is overall based on the economy?
Economy, the government's bonds. So they see the government's ability to pay.
Okay.
The government's ability to pay, for that they will check the GDP, the inflation, they will check your fiscal deficit and revenue. So all the macroeconomic numbers based on that. Clear?
Yes.
That's credit risk. So we've covered the first part, that is the overview of financial or fixed income securities. Any doubts, anyone till this point?
No.
Okay.